Hello guys, today in this video we're going to make a function that will capture the keylogger data directly from the client to our listener, to our server. So, first of all, here we have this string variable that will actually hold the keys that we press from our keyboard. So what we want to do is make one new function here. Let's say fetch actually keylogger data, and this will call the self.get keylogger data function. So this here, we need to create this function, so we can get here and make it like this. So we will get the self and the inp from the input, and what we want to do is actually, let me check something. Yeah, so we have this data send. I don't remember how it works actually, so let's make a comment here too. So we accept clients and adds one to the client with the address and send to clients. Okay, it sends on every client, so that's just a queue, and this sends data to all clients. So here with this queue we can send data to all clients. So right here we don't actually care about the input because we just want to get the data, or we could remove this, and here we can have if action. So we can have if action equals start, then if action dot upper equals start, then actually we can just have this action equals action dot upper. We have it here, so yes. So here we can just do this, and it will send keylogger and start, stop, or something else. And this will send the signal here to start the listener, the keylogger. So if we have a get, so if action equals get data, then we send it, and then we check if action equals get data, then this will send data to us from all the devices, from all the clients actually. So we can have here another function, def receive from clients self data, and actually not data, and so we can have let me think for a bit. Alright, so yes, we can have this here. Actually, when we create the socket, we can make it so in here we have the connection con dot, and this is the communicator class which has the sock, and it will receive data automatically, or not automatically, but yes. Yes, and since we have this, we can actually modify the communicator to have a receive timeout equals -1 for default timeout. So yeah, actually no, we don't need this. I don't think we need this. Alright, so we continue. We can have a receive from clients, and for I comma t in self.clients.items sock equals t0 sock.date receive, and this will get us some data. So data equals this, and list actually all data equals a dictionary, and we can have this all data from I equals socket.receive, and then return all data, and this should return all the data from the clients. And I believe that no, we don't have a timeout here, but we can set a timeout. We could set a timeout, but no, I don't think we need a timeout. We could. The only problem is, yeah, we could make a placeholder and send some custom bytes for the end of the communication, or actually this will return if there's no data. so it doesn't really matter. So we can continue this function here. This will not have the input. If we have the getData string, we can call self.getKeyloggerData, and we can do this with a timeout, or actually with a delay. So time.sleep, I think, yes, we have imported time. So time.sleep for timeout, which we're going to define here. So timeout equals 2 seconds, and here we can get the data, or actually here we can call self.receive from clients data equals, and we can, for each key and value in data.items, to create a new file, or actually create a new file actually exists. We can have the keylogger data here, and os.makedir keylogger data. Here we can have a with open f string formatted string keylogger data, and then the key and dot log we can have it. I believe it's correct to have a dot log since it's a logger. As actually data file, and data file dot write the value, and yeah, so after that we can just print out the results, but I want to make sure that first we write the files. I think that's more important, so we can make another for loop k, v in data.items print formatted string k, actually data for k, new line, and the value with dot replace for a better format all new lines to new line and tab. So it looks a bit nicer, and then we have 2 new extra lines, and then the next data. So yes, now we need to make the receiver for the signal here, and since this just calls the keylogger action, here we can have, instead of this, we can have if action equals start, return keylogger action, or action equals stop, and then we actually here we would need to check if action in start or stop or get data, and if that's not the case, we would print an error message now. We have this, and alright, so yeah, this should print new lines and tabs, then the 3 states of the keylogger, or we could just separate them like that. Start, stop, and get data. Yeah, that's better thing. So yes. And now we want to return from this function. We don't need to execute the next lines. So yes, if here it's start, stop, or get data, it's start or stop actually. So we can make it like this. We can just have action equals start, and since these all are bytes, we need to have bytes as well. Then if we have action equals get data, we can actually we have the socket object here, so we can make a new function keylogger get data. This should get the socket object and should be able to clear the keylogger str. So data equals keylogger str, keylogger str dot equals new string, and sock dot send keylogger. Actually, we don't need this. We can move this here and send this, and I believe that yes, that's a communicator, so we can use send without worrying about if it's a string or bytes. That should send the data and clear the string. Alright, and yeah, so we need to call keylogger get data and pass the socket object here. That should work, and then return. What does the keylogger action return actually? Returns action. So it returns true or false, and I should return true here. So yeah, I think we can wait a minute. I'm not sure about this. I'll check it later. So I can make it to do, and yes, now we should be able to test the program out. So yes, I can go to my desktop, or actually I can do this for it. I don't know, it's easier. So yes, we can open a terminal here and a terminal here, and we can have Python 3 or Python listener. It cannot include a backslash, so I guess we can't use backslashes in formatted strings. That's new, I didn't expect that. But okay, we can do this, or we can do end equals new line, new line. And I'm pretty sure this will throw an error too. Yeah, I believe we cannot have backslash here too, so I can have a backslash here plus the following. I think we can have backslashes here as well. So yes, we can always do this outside. So to print equals backslash plus v dot replace all new lines with new line and tab, and we can here have the to print, and I think that should work. We don't have any backslashes. Yes, it does. Right now we can check this out. We start the listener, we start the client, and keylogger start. So I guess it start yes, keylogger get data. Alright, so what happened? Right argument must be str, not bytes. Yes, I get that. So we should here we should open the file as write bytes, and now it should work. I don't want to just convert bytes to string. I don't know why, but yes. So we start again everything. Keylogger start, keylogger get data. We wait some minutes and a byte. Okay. Yes, we need to make everything as bytes. So here we need to have bytes, and bytes, and I'm not sure if that's possible, but yeah, formatted bytes are out of the way. I haven't tried to have byte and f string together, so it seems to work, but yeah, I know it doesn't check the type yet, so we can check it here. Keylogger start, keylogger get data. We wait some minutes. It worked, but it converts. Yeah, okay. It and yeah, I think we did this before. It didn't work. Yes. So I guess I really need to have to print dot decode. It starts. We wait some minutes and alright, we have this but data for this IP, this support, and there's no data. So what's going on? So what is going on? Alright, so instead of just sending the data, I want to print the data as well. So here I want to have a print keylogger str, because this here should append the character to the string, but it doesn't seem to do it. Or something else is going on. Keylogger start, keylogger get data, and yep, it's known. And again, it's none. when I don't think there is a time where we set keylogger str to none. But again, this should work. Why it doesn't? Alright, I decided that we can print keylogger string here and test again. Keylogger start. But why why does this happen? If we first send the string, print the string, sorry. So yes, if we first send the string, print the string, and then again we get none. If we do a keylogger stop and then keylogger get data, no, nope. So instead of this, we could instead of have a global for the string, yes, we can have the keyboard object store a string variable object dot string equals like that. So we can then here make a keylogger object dot string equals this, and actually here we should be able to make a backup or something. So brave equals keyboard object dot string, create a new object and reset the previous list, or actually not list but anyway, and here we can have a keyboard object of string keylogger.string and keylogger.string. Here we print the string, we send the dot string, and we set it to an empty string. So now if it wants to work, I don't see a reason why it shouldn't work anyway, but alright, so it started. Why the heck? Alright, so what if we had a global here, keylogger object, and pass that object in the function as a keylogger obj. Actually, I want to print the whole object here, or actually the string here in the action. So yeah, keylogger stop, keylogger get data as, oh, it stopped, yes. Yeah, I wrote keyboard somewhere. Yeah, here. Alright, so now if we do a keylogger get data, it prints the data here. So okay, let's try this here. Actually, I want to see something in the communicator. Don't tell me that. Okay, so that's not why it doesn't send the data. But yeah, it returns none. Alright, so what if we pass keylogger.string in the function? This won't work, but again none. Alright, so what could also happen is if we have an error somewhere here, but no, we just print this and it returns error, no error, but yes. What if we did sock send keyboard keylogger dot object, actually keylogger object dot string here. Don't tell me it started to print none here too. If that's the case, then I know that the problem is sock.send. Alright, so where is the get data? The logger data actually. So if that's not the case, we can have here keylogger start and keylogger get data, and it should get data issuing the axiom I just found out why. It's because a byte thing is not the same as a string, and I was way too dumb to see that I entered the string there. So yeah, actually, so now that I know that it works, let's just go back to the global variable. Yeah, so let's go back. And now somewhere here it should work, I'm pretty sure. Alright, so it now sends nothing, but I'm sure we are a step closer. So if we now do a print, yeah, we are a step closer because this sends the data. It shows the data. So right now we just need to go to the communicator object, and on the send we can actually print this here to make sure that it returns true. Alright, so it shows that it sends the data. Maybe we should have more timeout here, the actual delay. So if we sleep for like 5 seconds, maybe it should work. Or there is something with the string. So here we can try to print everything. So actually print to print to make sure that it works. And yeah, it even has a bigger delay. So keylogger data, what does it have inside? 0 bytes. Yeah, that's what I like. No. If we print this data directly, and it shows a blank byte. Alright, so we can try modifying the communicator, and instead of having the set block to none, to false, we could have self.sock.set timeout to timeout, which should be 10 seconds, and have a timeout here. And instead of this, it should have a data equals self.sock.receive the global buffer. It's okay, or actually once while true try except timeout error return data equals an empty byte string, and here plus equals. So yeah, this should take a lot, else return false. So now it doesn't even show the, I don't know. I'm pretty sure we must wait for 10 seconds to make sure. Yes. Which is not really the best way to do it. I'm pretty sure that we could have this and a end byte. It should be like a 9, I guess. Yeah, because if we do a print 9, or actually alright, that's a 9. That's a 2, that's a 3. Yeah, I already knew that, so we can have a CHR with an integer of actually we can just send this 9, or we can have a whole code, so like EOF or EO EOM for end of message and then a 0 because I don't know. So if after this, if data dot ends with, because I'm pretty sure that this exists in bytes, so bytes equals yeah, it exists. So if it ends with the end byte, we return data without the len of end byte. So something like this. And here we need to also send this byte. So with this I think we should be able to bypass the timeout and also be able to communicate. Why didn't it work? Yeah, we have this here to send the end byte too. We should have a timeout of 2. And yes, we don't really want this, so I should remove the timeout, or actually and so I found what the problem was. We actually need to call this self.send to clients with the we actually we don't need to do this, but instead we can do this. We can do this if action in start stop. We call this data to send put, and else, because if that's not the case, actually let's make it more specific. Get data, it will send the data directly, send it to clients, and we want to send this keylogger plus action, or actually we can just put this get data. Alright, and after we send this, we want to sleep for so much time and then get the keylogger data. So the problem was that this function was never called before the execution of this one. So we had to wait for the action to stop and go to the next loop. So right now this should be fixed. And if we wait for a bit, 5 seconds, yes, now as you can see we get this dictionary, which is for debugging actually, and we get this data for and the IP and the port, and keylogger and the data of the keylogger, what we wrote actually. So it works. Now we can just make it a bit more pretty if we like, I don't know, make a print, an empty print to print a new line, and yes, and actually we can, I think the timeout is alright, it's correct. Also we can come here and say if actually if v len v equals me then 0, sorry, we can then actually we can check if len v equals 0 doesn't equal 0, and so there is data, and if there is data we can dump it to a file, and here we can have a if len to print equals 0 to print equals no data, else we can have to print and decode it, so we can get string. And if we run it now, and because it will have a bug, actually not a bug, but we could I think we could interpret it as a bug, but anyway, we need to make it so it has this placeholder, this input prompt. So like in the main here on the bottom, we need to have this one, prompt message, and equals no, and flash equals true. So if we run our listener now, we can execute the listener, then get the data, which will be actually 2 key apps. And as we wait, you can see data for 127.0.0.1, this port, and we have 2 key apps and an ender. And now we can continue typing. So keylogger stop, keylogger get data. And it didn't send anything. So because of this, that could be a bug. So if instead of returning false here, actually, why did it send false? Alright. I'm not sure. But anyway, if there is another connection aborted, actually we could make a variable send equals to false, and while not send, try to send it, and instead of returning, send equals true. So except it will print that the connection was aborted, and instead of returning, send equals false, which shouldn't matter, and then return true. So it always returns true and only returns false if there is an error here. So keylogger start, alright, keylogger get data, Alright, we got the data, keylogger stop, keylogger get data. And yes, we got the data. So that's completed. We can retrieve the data directly from the client. So in the next video we can make a screenshot function so we can capture instances of the screen. Then I'm not sure about this, but we could try. So let's say that this is an idea for now. We could try to make a function that will check if the computer tried to make a connection to, let's say, Google, and if that's correct, it should start recording a video when we complete this function that will capture some screenshots after each, let's say, 2 seconds. So it may capture some passwords or some information that could be used. So that would make a virus really dangerous. And so, yeah, this is actually the reason we want to make a virus for educational purposes, but we wanted to make it as strong as possible, because otherwise we don't learn anything. So yes, we can try to check if the computer sends a request to connection request to a specific IP. And so that's it for now. In the next video we will make a screenshot function so we can capture a screenshot from the remote machine. And yeah, like and subscribe.